This is Kathy Beal of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of September 4th, 2017. This week we began to make more sense of the big events and shifts that hit us all at the end of August. And even if you're not grappling with anything specific or conscious, you'll start noticing this week how your life is evolving. Mercury, the planet that rules communication and transportation, begins the week basically parked on the degree of the eclipse, where he stations direct on the 5th and ends his retrograde. He and Mars, the planet that rules our drive, spent the weekend hanging out at that degree, at the very end of Leo, ramping up energies, passion, enthusiasm, maybe even anger, some motivation, and we naturally started melding our minds to action. Whether we consciously decided, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, or not, there was something that started erupting or triggering walking your talk. And since this is occurring at the end of Leo, probably there was something highly dramatic about it. Probably there is something highly dramatic and also potentially fun. So Mercury stationing direct on the degree of the eclipse opens the channel for getting insight into miscommunication, into deception, into lies, into a deeper understanding, or at least an eruption, an uncovering, a bringing light to things that really weren't clearly or accurately communicated or perceived before. There could unfortunately be big fires raging somehow from this, physical as well as metaphoric. And some of that fire might be erupting inside of you and getting you absolutely energized to go do a lot of things. And doing things is increasingly the call of the rest of the week as we begin a multi-tiered gear shift out of all that fire into practical earthbound Virgo energy. Virgo is oriented toward improvement, toward betterment. It is the intellectual earth sign and melds concrete, mundane considerations with the mind. Action hero Mars slips into Virgo on the same day that Mercury is stationing direct on the 5th, and motivations, agendas, and actions alike shift from highly passionate, high energy to fixing things, to concrete, practical steps. This is measure twice, cut once, maybe even measure 5 or 6 times, then cut once. The very next day, on the 6th, we have the Pisces full moon, and this is very different energy than what we have been experiencing with the new and full moons all summer long, because finally Mars isn't really close into the action anymore. This one has Neptune on top of the moon. Neptune ruling Pisces on top of the moon. And even though we're past Labor Day weekend in the United States, the vibe is not going to be back to school, back to work. It's going to be this sort of lounge on the beach, drink wine coolers and watch movies vibe that we normally associate with summer. This will likely encourage little bursts of escapism and trying to get away from the realities of life for just a brief moment. Look at it as a breather, as a time out. Some people are going to focus on all the negative potential of Neptune being with the moon, but do look for higher meaning in your life, ways of expressing compassion, particularly toward yourself, and bringing an inspired, transcendent, spiritual tint to everything you're doing down here on Earth. A lot of people are in pain. A lot of people are in dire need all over the globe. And perhaps you'll find yourself called to service in some way. A new round of clarity about who you are surfaces as we get into the weekend. Personal candor, personal honesty, stepping more into your power, stripping down more and more who you are, and dropping the stuff that doesn't really support your growth and strength anymore. All of those are possible and probable. This is a moment of the phoenix emerging from the fire, cleaned, new, revitalized. And as that is happening, Mercury clears the final degrees of Leo and moves back into its home base of Virgo, orienting us to details, making our communication flow all the more concrete and practical, and probably pointing out here and there how our different commutes and our relationship to technology could be improved, made more efficient and more effective. Mind, motivation, and purpose are now all in the sign of Virgo, and this is when the familiar back to school, back to work vibe kicks in and people start getting down to serious business about what they're going to do with their lives. The dramas of August are still unrolling, they're still playing out, but now we are in cleanup and improvement mode. All those newly emerged phoenixes are probably going to want to have slightly different environments than what their predecessors lived in before the eclipse. Homing thought of the week: lead me in the direction that is most beneficial and make the signals so loud that my mind gets them. Song of the week, I have two: After the Storm by Mumford and Sons and Love, Rain, or Me by The Who. And the image of the week is putting up your telescope and pulling out a magnifying glass instead. You'll find more information about all of this in my forecast for the month of September, which is posted at empowermentunlimited.net. You can also get personal information in an eclipse support session, a 30-minute specialized session that I am offering through September 21st. And my forecast for the Pisces full moon will be up before the 6th at empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. Talk to you next week.